Peace, peace, peace. Shalom, shalom. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. And welcome to another day to labor in the vineyard of the Most High. With your brother. Another day to get in the Word. To see what the Most High got to serve. And what we eating on is more understanding. Understanding is the greatest gift that we've been blessed with besides this transformation. But without the understanding, you can't receive the downloads that lead to the transformation. Alright, so what we're gonna see, how all these movies that's coming on now about the multiverse tie into what we eating on out the keys of Enoch. Alright? And you gotta know that the entities didn't line this up perfectly. The keys of Enoch came out in the 70s, in which the Gentiles thought it was to take place, the revelations, back then. Not realizing that, it won't until it got into the hands of the original children that these things was going to start to manifest and take place. Alright? And we just beginning to really get into and eat out the keys recently, as of the last year or two. Alright? And now the events in the keys are unfolding. Alright? Because we are getting back in alignment with the cosmic law. Alright? And the keys is helping us grow so that we can get there. And so that our brothers and sisters alike in the celestial realm can work with us in this third dimensional realm to help us transform this realm so that we can become one and elevate. Alright? Oh, we're going to get better understanding of it. We're going to eat and get some understanding. We're going to go to the keys in a second. We're going to start in the Bible. The book of Revelation. Revelation chapter 21. In the header in my book, because I got an LDS quad, the header in my book tells what we about to read. Alright? And we're going to get a different understanding than what the camps and the carnal lights then gave us. Revelation chapter 21. The header says, those who overcome shall be sons and daughters of God. The earth attains its celestial glory. And that's what we've been reading about in the keys. Alright? Verse 1. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away. And there was no more sea. Alright? Let's break this thing down right here. Alright? Let's break it down to make it a spiritual precept, not carnal, like we've been taught in the churches and the camps. Alright? And I saw a new heaven. Where's the war in heaven that we didn't learn? The war in heaven take place up here. Alright? Heaven. It starts right here. Alright? A new heaven is a new consciousness. Alright? The old consciousness, the carnal consciousness, the first Adam, like we seen in the last lesson when we was talking about the first Adam and the last Adam. That old man is disappearing. We being renewed. We being renewed spiritually. Alright? And so the new heaven is not speaking on the whole spiritual realm getting changed. It's speaking on your consciousness. The heaven up here. Alright? And the new earth is symbolic of the body. Alright? Like the keys told us. Our bodies is getting renewed. It's getting changed at this time. So that we can go farther and elevate. Alright? But with that new heaven and this new earth, that gonna lead to the transformation of the bigger earth. All right, but it started with us because we were given dominion and authority over the earth to rule everything. Genesis 1, the original creation. Man and woman was created that have dominion. All right, this was before the creation of Adam and Eve. This was the creation of the celestial man and woman that was made in the image and likeness of the Elohim that created them. All right. So in the end, the Most High tell the ending from the beginning. In the beginning was the celestials. All right. And I saw a new heaven, a new consciousness, and a new earth. The earth in its celestial glory being transformed by the celestial children that are returning to have their dominion and authority. For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away. The old man, that old consciousness, that carnal consciousness, and the apocrypha, when it say Esau is the end of the world. Nah, that carnal consciousness is the end of the world. In the beginning of the new is the spiritual, the reign of the celestials. All right. The first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. They teach us that the sea is talking about all of the water. No, water is one of the primordial elements that ain't ever going away. But what is the sea? The sea is a division in the oceans. Ain't gonna be no more division. Ain't gonna be no more battle between right and wrong, good and evil, carnal and spiritual. No, it's just gonna be one body, one ocean of consciousness. All right, which is the higher consciousness, the Christ consciousness, the Krishna consciousness, the Haru consciousness. All right, ain't gonna be no more division by the Leviathan like we seen in the last lesson. Ain't gonna be no more division in the ocean of consciousness. All right, nah, it's just gonna be the celestial law with the understanding through the spiritual children. All right, nah. That's what it means by no more sea, no more division in the ocean, which is the ocean is symbolic of the consciousness, the crystal sea, like they call it in the keys of Enoch. And now John saw the holy city, New Jerusalem. Remember, in one of the last lessons we seen, the New Jerusalem, the USA, was capitalized because this is where the dove is returning to reach out unto the other four corners. All right. And I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God, from the Spirit, out of heaven, out of the consciousness, prepare as a bride adorned for her husband. All right. Because the New Jerusalem is only going to be prepared once we transform. And the brotherhood working with us to transform us is allowing us together to transform the earth, to claim the earth in the name of the Father. Christ coming to claim the earth in the name of the Father is the Christ consciousness returning to transform the earth into its celestial glory. Oh, let's keep going. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of God, the tabernacle of the great Spirit is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them. The great Spirit himself shall be with them and be their God. No more of the carnal consciousness, which seek carnal things and a carnal God. Nah. The spiritual children, the carnal mind is enmity against the Lord your God. Because God is a spirit. God is a spirit. That means the children of God got to spiritualize themselves to get in alignment with their creator. No, the creator is not coming down to your level because the creator is cosmic consciousness. No, he's not a man. The creator is cosmic consciousness. So the children have to elevate to the Christ consciousness, that higher consciousness, which is the Son of God. The higher consciousness is the child of the cosmic consciousness. Let's get to the keys. Let's get to the keys. It's all about the light, the Lord of light, the children of light. The book of knowledge, the keys of Enoch. If you do not renew your mind, you can't grow into a child of God. All you can be is the child of God that the camps and the Gentiles then taught us. Let's go to page 233. Key 206. Page 233. Verse 46. When we are fused with the Christ, meaning the Christ consciousness, when we are fused with the Christ consciousness, we will recognize that infinite intelligence goes beyond the consciousness of the lower worlds. When we are fused with the Christ consciousness, the higher consciousness, we will recognize that infinite intelligence goes beyond the consciousness of the lower worlds. For this reason, the Torah or absorbs the fallen galactic realms of consciousness. Stop right there. Alright? We don't want no light left behind. So let's get the let's get the definition of the Torah or. Oh, I'm jumping ahead of myself. I get excited when I get in the word. The Torah or. Let's get the definition for those who may be new or might not have the keys or might not know. But the keys is like the new Bible, where that right there is opening us up to many different layers of consciousness. And if some of the stuff don't make sense, that's cool. Just listen and allow the seed to be planted. All right? Allow the seed to be planted so that certain conditions come along and it'll be nourished. And one thing that's cool that the entities do, they get the Gentiles to give us this understanding visually through these movies. All right? And through the movies, they feed it to us one way. So then when we read it, we see it another way. And that's what we doing. We aligning now what we've been saying in these movies. Like the last Doctor Strange movie. All right. In the multiverse, the Spider-Man movie, where the 3 Spider-Mans all come together from different verses, different multiverses, 3 different dimensions of time. All right. Then there's this other movie, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. And that one, they really give an understanding of how the overbodies work. Well, the lady was seeing herself in different time frames with different personalities, along with her daughter and her husband. All right? And when the husband, she had the question, which one was he? Was he the one from this current incarnation? Or was he her husband from one of the different realities? All right? It was pretty cool. But we go through the lesson, we're going to see how all this tied together in the keys, and is also, they giving it back to us in the movies. That's how you know the entities in the spiritual realm is working with the chosen children to elevate them. All right? Because they feeding us on multiple fronts so that we can get it. And so that they can code it into our consciousness. So that once we see it in the movies and then we see it in the book, it starts to make more sense. And we can align it. All right? The Torah or the divine tablets scriptures and documents of Yahweh's many trees of life. And remember in the last lesson, we seen that the many trees of life is the different galaxies. All right. The divine tablets, scriptures, and documents of Yahweh's many trees of life that have been created as consciousness maps for the divine offspring. The scriptures have been created as consciousness maps for the divine offspring in the heavens and planetary worlds. The Torah includes the divine writings revealed to Daniel and his vision that are used by the myriad heavenly administrations. The Torah represents the teachings that have been revealed and will be revealed to infinite species from the book of light commissioned by the Ancient of Days. The higher master blueprint of life. The higher master blueprint of life. The higher master blueprint of life. That's why you got to get the keys. If you ain't got the keys, let me know. I send you the link so that you can get one for $60 instead of paying $200, $300, $400, $500 like they charge on Amazon and eBay. All right. Back to page 233. For this reason, the Torah absorbs the fallen galactic realms of consciousness, infuses the misdirected light or misdirected consciousness into the consciousness of God. All right? So the scriptures, they recode us. All right? They elevate us from that fallen consciousness. And that's what separates us from the people of the world. And it's also, as we go into the higher teachings, and the ones of us that's in the keys, it has separated us again from our carnal brothers and sisters that just enter the Bible in the Book of Mormon in the sealed portion. All right? And then elevated and separated us again. Because like Jesus said, he came to separate. He didn't come to unify. He came to bring a fire to separate the chosen seed from the people of the world. All right? Because through that separation, the entities in the spirit realm are able to assist and elevate. All right? But we got to be given the chance to hear the other teachings to see if they resonate with our spirit. And if they don't resonate with our spirit, it's because either our ego in the way, we need to repent for some wickedness that we didn't did, or our heart, we ain't then purified our carnal man. All right? If you can't abide by the ethic and moral laws of Moses, you can't rise to the higher spiritual teachings. All right? That's basically what the book of Hebrews is telling you when Jesus talked about the difference between what he came to do and what Moses did. No, if you can't abide by the law of Moses, which the carnal Israelites, the camps that's out going off about Esau, they ain't allowed to elevate no higher because they missing the basics of the moral law that Moses gave. All right, and with Jesus summed it all up in. It's all summed up in the two. Love the Lord your God with all your mind, body, and soul, which is the great spirit. And then love your neighbor as yourself. You got to get the hatred of the Gentiles out your system. Out there keep talking about Esau, and the destruction of Esau. Nah, you got to get that out your system for you to be elevated farther, because that's still carnal. You still battling against flesh and blood. And what Ephesians tell us, our war is not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness and principalities in high places. All right? So when you still fighting a carnal war against the Gentiles, you're not ready to be elevated spiritually. All right? And that's something that the entities had to show me to where I had to told y'all. I told y'all multiple times. I had to let go of them Pan-African pro-black teachings. All right? And the hating of the Gentiles. And the Gentiles is the white man, the devil. And I had to let all that go for me to be elevated. All right? And then what the Spirit was able to show me was spiritually. All right? Read the Spirit, not the flesh. All right? Because the children of the Spirit incarnate in all different type of flesh, because we didn't got infused with everybody over these thousands of years. All right? All right, let's get back to it. That's just something the Spirit wanted me to share right there. That helps somebody that's trying to grow, but wondering why they can't. All right? It got to do with your ego, your pride, and your carnal ways. All right? And as we go through the lesson, we going to see that. Again, the Torah absorbs the fallen galactic realms of consciousness and fuses the misdirected light into the light of God. This enables man to move from 0-point evolution to light technology into starseed creation beyond the negative spiral of the galactic tree of this light zone. You have to go beyond what's going on this earth. If your mind is focused on politics and what white folks doing to us and what the Gentiles is implanting in your mind, you're not ready to go beyond this earth. You still stuck on the foolishness of the world and the things that the Gentiles have implanted into your mind. You haven't renewed your consciousness yet. All right? 48. And when we work directly with the higher evolution, we will understand how the book of Genesis gives 4 different cosmologies of creation. The book of Genesis gives 4 different cosmologies of creation. The first is that of the creation of the luminaries in the expanse of the many heavens. The second is the creation of our galaxy in the expanse of our heavens. The third is the creation of our greater luminary, i.e., the creation of our solar system, where we at. In the fourth, the cycle of man upon the planet, in the image of the Adam Kadmon, who could speak with the infinite mind and understand the trees of life as being the higher mansion worlds. All right? And that's what we getting coded back into now. Like the last lesson, when we seen the first Adam and the last Adam. The last Adam is getting recoded now that we didn't reach the end of this cycle to move on. And those that ain't ready to be recoded, you just going into the recycle bin. And you might come back on one of these other worlds that got students learning to get built back up on. If you don't get recycled before the end of what we got going on here. Let's keep eating. Let's keep going. Next, we're going to go to page 524. Key 317. Page 524. Starting at verse 9. The human evolution is a precondition. The human evolution is a preconditioned experiment within the world of happenstance relativity. Without higher evolutionary programming, without the higher evolutionary programming or direct programming by an overself intelligence, the human biological, the physical being must go back into the into the overall flux of magnetic fields when the system is discorporated. Meaning you going back into reincarnation. Alright? Basically, you reincarnating again. When let's keep going. When man is directly programmed by an overself, he is no longer kept in biochemical slavery within the three-dimensional consciousness by the apparent realities of the earth. Again, so this is the difference between the spiritual children and the carnal children. The carnal children are worshiping a carnal God, which is a false God. Alright? Because they stuck under the teachings of the Gentiles and the fallen ones. Alright? Who set up the religions, which includes the camps. The Hebrew camps is right along with them. When man is directly programmed by an overself, he is no longer kept in biochemical slavery within the three-dimensional consciousness by the apparent realities of the earth. Verse 28. Well, let's see Overself one more time. No light left behind. The new ones that might have just been tuning in, we don't want you left behind if you ain't got the keys yet. And I ain't gonna lose nobody, because that's what I've been taught on my journey. Go back for the one and leave the 99. 99 be alright. Overself body, the pre-existent higher body of light, which exists for spiritual physical beings prior to their incarnation. This body dawns with realize the spiritual children that has spiritually realized the truth, with realized physical humanity, which has completed the synthesis of the 5 inner matter energy vehicles, one of several overself vehicles or bodies in the Shekinah universe of creation, leading to new levels of growth within the activity of total deity or divinity. The exact nature of the overself relationship is open-ended. However, the immediate overself hierarchy, the immediate body of light hierarchy includes the Elohim, Lords, the Paradise Sons, the Order of Sonship, the Christ Overself, which is the sons and daughters of light. The Overself as a super meta program and self-realization. Self-realization is the synthesis of the vehicles or bodies of light. So when they teach us about your aura and the subtle body and the astral body and all them different bodies of light, the casual body, all right? All that stuff that's been hid from us by us being stuck in Christianity and Hebrewanity, all right? Those light bodies that align, all right? As we come into these higher teachings and we meditating, we receiving more instruction and direction from the spirit within, we able to discern the spirit, the voice from our own voice and our own mind. All right, all those things are aligning to boost us and elevate us. All right, to put us at oneness with the spirit. And then we got the brotherhood, the entities in the spiritual realm working with us to help us get in alignment. All we got to do is stay on the course, stay on the path, and not fall off and go backwards to that old man. Because the old man will pull you all the way backwards to where you done got out of alignment with the spirit. And now you got to pray, fast, repent, and wait for them to come back into your presence again to elevate you. And when you go back into that old man, you know, because you feel empty. You know what you did, and you know if you do it enough, you get to a feeling of where you feel empty, like, hold on, I'm missing something. And what you missing is the spirit that just left out for a while because you been started going backwards too much. All right? Now that's all, but you can get back on track. That's the good thing. All right? All of us fall back into that old man every once in a while. Maybe for a day, 2, but don't keep going back for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. No, because then you're going to have to work to get back in alignment with the spirit. All right? Verse 28. A whole new species is being created at this time by bringing together of the Adamic Overself human creation, which will allow this spiritual, physical, or spiritual biological expression of the Christ race to be advanced to the next consciousness time zone of creation. Alright. Next, let's go to page 397. Alright. Let's get a refresher on what happened. Alright, so we see where we're going. Now let's see what happened to take us back. And why some of us are stuck. 397, verse 25. In eons previous to this age, the fallen ones, the fallen masters and princes of light, did not wish to acknowledge the sovereign grace of the Adam Kadmon and our Father Universe. And once again, so no light be left behind. Anybody that ain't been following us, I'm going to give you the definition of Adam Kadmon. Adam Kadmon, the light manifestation of paradise sons and lords of light who have evolved beyond the body form as man knows it. In reality, this is the original pre-existent light body form used for the creation of the human race. Genesis 1:27. This is the first creation, not the creation of Adam in the flesh, the first creation, all right, that was made in the image and likeness of the Elohim, all right. In reality, this is the original pre-existing body of light used for the creation of the human Adamic race, amidst many possible forms of thinking creation. This form also allows for the bestowed light body to become an extension of the Great Spirit, as it functions as a super species in creation. That's why they're working so hard to keep us from getting back to that point. And that's why I say it's not the Gentiles control the creation. It's the fallen ones. And because of the frequency that the Gentiles operate on, they are a vessel that can be used to carry out the orders of the higher entities, which are the fallen masters. Whereas we are working with the frequency of the higher ones on the righteous side. The ones in control of the earth are working with the higher ones on the fallen side. All right, which that would be your Luciferian, the Luciferian consciousness, the fallen consciousness, but it's still above regular human consciousness. All right, so the Christ consciousness and the Luciferian consciousness, all right, is just levels of consciousness that the higher entities inject into man. All right, Luciferian consciousness is carnal consciousness. All right, but it comes from on high, just like Christ consciousness. And eons previous to this age, the fallen masters and princes of light did not wish to acknowledge the sovereign grace of the Adam Kadmon and our Father Universe. Therefore, they conspired to separate the divine image the divine image that we see in Genesis 1 and 27 or 28, they conspired to separate the divine image from the similitude, from the likeness of the divine light invisibles. Meaning, they conspired to separate the divine image from the likeness of the Elohim. Alright? From the likeness of your Creator. Verse 29. They also poured out an inferior feeling of fallen consciousness into the Adamic race, so as to seal off their spiritual progress, their spiritual faith, and prevent their evolution through the Spirit from connecting with the necessary stages of spiritual evolution needed to be one with the glorious Adam Kadmon, your inherent original body of light. This is why the Gentiles teach us that evolution is physical, which that's not true. Evolution is spiritual. All right? The physical form is fallen consciousness. That's a fallen form right there. Like we seen in the last lesson. That's why they teach you that there's nothing higher than what we got going on the earth. Because they don't want to own up to we are subservient to a higher authority. All right? And that's why we just read. The fallen ones use the vessels in control of the earth now because they are operating on that frequency, where they can keep control and running their planet. But now we didn't reach towards the end of that cycle. And truth is coming to the light. And it's only coming through the children of light. It's not coming through the camps. It's not coming through the churches. And it's sure enough not coming through the Gentiles. Again, the fallen ones poured out an inferior feeling of fallen consciousness into the Adamic race, so as to seal off their spiritual faith and prevent their evolution from connecting with the necessary stages of spiritual advancement or evolution needed to be one with the glorious Adam Kadmon. 32. Therefore, the physical manifestations of the Adam Kadmon in the form of the Adamic race were prevented from realizing their divine overself. The Adam Kadmon is one aspect of the overself, all right? They did not realize that the physical progression was not completely closed off to the direct remodeling of life from the higher planes of creation. Meaning, we did not realize that physically our progression could be elevated through our brothers in the spiritual realm. All right? The brotherhood of light, this in the spiritual realm, are here to assist and elevate us on our journey. All right? And that's why the Gentiles will teach you that back in the day, the gods used to come visit mankind on the movie The Eternals, when they showed how they was behind the scenes guiding through different ages the advancement of man's consciousness. All right? And what it's saying, we did not realize that the physical progression was not completely closed off to the direct remodeling of life from the higher planes of creation. Meaning, your spirit brethren and sisters in the spirit are here to assist in our elevation. Going to college cannot give you this understanding. All right? And I know some of us believe what the Gentiles and taught us, education is the key to the future. Education is the key to this and that. You need to go to college. You need to go to, that's all you heard. And Negroes have got stuck in that state of mind to where that's all we put inside of our children. Oh, make sure you go to college. Make sure you go to college. No. Now, times is changing. Forget going to college. You need to get in this word. You get in this word, and that's your true education. Get in the keys. Give your teenager kids the keys of Enoch. Forget them books from college that the Gentiles give you. No. That's just getting you father indoctrinated into that fallen consciousness that can't take you nowhere. That's not what the Lord your God wants you to do. All right? That's getting trapped in carnality into the world, the ways of the world. All right? This is our college right here. Going through these different books is our college course that's been set up to us. And that's what many of us fail to see. We think college is the key, Gentile college is the key to our advancement, and just having faith in the Bible is all we need. No. That's what the fallen consciousness want us to see. That's what they want us to believe. Alright? Let's keep going. Page 207. Page 207, key 204. The sons of light project the geometries of creation into fourth dimensional space in order to code spiritual mankind. You notice, not Israel, not all of the Israelites like we've been taught, to code spiritual mankind into the fifth dimension, the next larger membrane of universes. Let's get the definition of fourth and fifth dimension so we can line this thing up. Fourth dimension, a time coordinate in addition to length, breadth, and depth of conventional space. Enoch said the fourth dimension is the consciousness threshold that must be crossed while entering and leaving our three-dimensional perceptional time and space. Again, so the definition, fourth dimension. Enoch said the fourth dimension is the consciousness threshold that must be crossed, meaning you have to cross over from carnality into the spiritual aspect of life. All right? Enoch said the fourth dimension is the consciousness threshold that must be crossed while entering and leaving our three-dimensional perceptional time and space. Fifth dimension, the next garment of light. The only way to get to the fifth dimension, you have to spiritualize your mind to enter the fourth dimension consciousness. The next garment of light that our matter energy body, our physical spiritual body enters in the process of spiritual evolution. A less gross material body, with the restored similitude of the Elohim governing the physical processes. Enoch said three-dimensional humanity will be transposed into the fifth dimension upon completing their education. In this realm of image and likeness. The only way to cross over is to complete your education. And in your education, as we done seen, is in the books of life, the scriptures. This is our true education, not Gentile education. Again, verse 1. The sons of light project the geometries of creation into the fourth dimensional space in order to code spiritual mankind into the fifth dimension, the next larger membrane of universes. The revealing of the codes of light extend through telethought communication, which is produced by the modulation of gravitational waves. The gravitational waves carry the codings of light. The gravitational waves, these vibrations, these frequencies out here that we are to absorb, carry the codings of light intelligence from the larger membrane of universes. You as a believer can receive modulated gravitational wave factors that are sent, meaning you can receive elevated forms of consciousness, basically. You as a believer can receive elevated waves of consciousness that are sent from a higher evolution master intelligence of light. This transmission of knowledge contains codes of light that give you the realization of God's purpose, of the Creator's purpose, and recognition of where we are in relation to the larger evolving universe. Like in Men in Black, we only one marble out of all of the marbles in the universe. Verse 8, from this light encoding, from this elevated vibration, from this receiving of higher consciousness, the physical body and the overself body become one, so that the physical form can be seen simultaneously in 2 or more locations. So that the physical form can be seen simultaneously in 2 or more locations. There we go right there. Boom shakalaka. The multiverse has to do with your light bodies. Alright? That's what they showed us on the new Spider-Man. That's what they showed us on the new Doctor Strange. That's what they showed us on the movie Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. That the physical projection is just a projection of light that's been condensed into, it's been condensed into a thicker material. Alright? Like they teach us, everything is made of light. It's just light that's been condensed into such a thicker material, so to say, a thicker density, so to say, that it became materialized. And that's the way that the original caveman got trapped into the flesh. Alright? And that's when they was kicked out of the Garden of Eden. Oh, so we see that the overself, the physical body and the overself body become one, so that the physical form can be seen simultaneously in 2 or more locations. All right, and you got to understand, as a child of light, light can be reflected. All right. 10. We must understand how the larger life force of local universes. Let me read this again. We must understand how the larger life force, which the larger life force is the spiritual entities. There's more spiritual beings around us than physical beings. All right? We've seen that in previous lessons. We must understand how the larger collective life force of local universes collectively forms both part of the eternal mind and part of our galactic network. Okay? So we know that Elohim are part of the eternal mind. The brotherhood of light, the paradise sons, they are part of the eternal mind. All right? Those are the spiritual entities that drive these ships that we see shooting back and forth through the stars. All right? That they teach us are shooting stars. In part, they also are part of our galactic network because they work with us in the flesh. And part of our galactic network, which issues forth biological programs bringing Alpha and Omega together. All right? Alpha and Omega, the first Adam and the last Adam. The first Adam was made Let's get a precept. Revelation. Let's get a precept. Revelation chapter 1, verse 8. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, said the Lord, which is, and which was, and which is to come, which is to come, the Almighty. All right, remember what we said at the beginning about the Creator being the cosmic consciousness, and the Son being the Christ consciousness, the higher consciousness operating within creation. All right, because the cosmic consciousness is just always creating, expanding creation. But the sun universe, all right, is the higher consciousness, the Christ consciousness working within creation. The cosmic consciousness is all of creation. All right, the eternal mind. That's the cosmic consciousness, the eternal mind, which is ever expanding. That is the Most High. All right. Revelation 22 and 13. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. All right. And what it say, verse 14? Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. We didn't show that the chakras, the key to entering into the gates. All right. And that's what they're working on, elevating us at this time. All right. So now, back to verse 10. When the Alpha Omega cycle is completed. All right. Precept, page 256. We read this on the last lesson, I think, or the one before that. All right. So we on a cycle, the Alpha Omega cycle. All right. Page 256, verse 11. During the Alpha cycle, the Alpha is the beginning, Omega is the end. And they tie into, the Greek alphabet. Alpha is the beginning and Omega is the end. All right, but put that in terms of the scriptures. During the Alpha cycle of creation, the beginning cycle of creation, Adamic man as the fallen light body incarnation is seen in contrast to Adamic man at the end of the Omega cycle. We see the first Adamic man being made by the life processes of Yahweh directly through star creation in the higher heavens. All right, so like we said, we not earthborn. The earthborn races are in control right now, but we are not the earthborn race. We were sent here. All right. In the process of extending this creation to new regions of the heavens, the Adamic race was intercepted. The Adamic creation was intercepted by the fallen watchers, like we just read, and transposed into imperfect physical light. Now, at the end of this cycle, pause, hold on. All right. So this confirming what we said, how we was transposed in the imperfect physical light, which that's what this flesh is imperfect physical light. And through us being trapped in this flesh, we start catering more and more to the things of the earth that just got us wrapped deeper and deeper into carnality. All right, but now at the end, as they taking away the things of the earth and pulling us away from the lust of our flesh, it's allowing our light bodies to become activated. All right, and that's why it's important for you to change your diet at this time. All right, you don't want to be eating a diet of death and decay. All right, eating all them dead animals, all them dead body parts. No, you want to lighten up. your spirit, lighten up your body, lighten up your flesh. Because remember, the outer temple and the inner temple is connected. All right? And that's why they trying to get people to go back vegan. That's the first dietary law. It's not the white man doing that. It's not the people running the world, not the Illuminati. No, it's the entities. They trying to lighten up your diet, which helps control the lust of your flesh, believe it or not. If you can control what you put in your mouth, you can control your attitude and your actions a lot better. All right? And then, because of that animal DNA, that's also binding with your DNA, giving you some of the tendencies of that animal nature. All right? But as we get away from that, and we get back to evolving spiritually, remember, fruits carry a spiritual vibration within them. They are living pieces of food. They live in light. All right? They grow in the sun. In the same way we absorb the sun, our food is supposed to absorb the sun. Fruits and vegetables, all right? Nuts and seeds, grains, they all are grown in the natural condition, the natural elements. Because our body is the element. All of the elements of the earth are within your body. All right? Don't worry about getting your protein and all of these agendas that the fallen ones are pushing. They are trying to keep you trapped in the carnality and to keep you sick, all right? And going after the things of the world and the lust of the flesh. All right? When you can control what you put in your mouth, it's easier to control every other aspect of your life. All right? That's part of the trick. Now, at the end of this cycle, we are seeing the second Adamic man being made through the visitation of the Lords of Light, or the higher intelligence, which reprograms us. Because we had lost our conceptual apparatus of telethought communication. All right? And getting them animal enzymes out your body help to elevate and increase your connection. All right? Not saying that you can't be connected off that lower diet, but imagine where your connection is now, eating flesh all the time. If you get off of the flesh, that connection is only going to be enhanced that much stronger. All right? Since he has lost the ability to reconcile multi-dimension levels of consciousness programming, the Elohim take over and program the survival mechanism in the second Adam, in the second Adamic man's identity patterns, so that he can go back into the light form of the Adam Kad mind. All right? And remember, it was forbidden for Adam and Eve to eat meat. We didn't show that in previous lessons. They weren't allowed to eat meat. All right? Back to verse 10. Again, we must understand how the larger body of life, the spiritual beings of the local universes collectively form both part of the eternal mind and part of our local galactic network, which issues forth biological programs bringing Alpha and Omega together. All right? Bringing the spirit man and the physical man together. When the Alpha Omega cycle is completed, the magnetic fields shift. And that's what's going on the earth now. The magnetic fields, the poles are shifting, causing genetic information to be adapted to a new biotechnology of light. All right, and this takes place within us. The magnetic fields create neutral zones for the interfacing of high-speed molecules which control growth and development in all living things. All living things. The animals are being changed at this time too. All right? Not just us. Verse 11. We are going into a different membrane program at this time. This new program requires that the genetics of man function on a higher wavelength of light. In order to accomplish this, the Brotherhood of Light is accelerating the entire system of human biorhythms to enter a less dense spectrum of matter energy. A less dense spectrum of matter energy. The Brotherhood of Light is changing the electromagnetic density so that the electrification of matter, pause. Now remember, when it was talking about the sun and how the angel released the sun to be able to scorch men, the sun also gives off information and light. All right? You got to remember, like they teach us before the ice age, the earth was hotter. It was a tropical climate all the way around. What do you see now? The poles are melting. Nah, the ice age wasn't no millions of years ago like the Gentile teach us. Nah, it wasn't that long ago. All right? They got maps where Antarctica didn't have ice. All right? They got maps where Greenland didn't have ice. It wasn't that long ago that this happened. All right? It was during our time of falling that all this happened. All right? But now the electrification. Light is electric. The sun is electrification. And guess what? We used to be able to adapt to the tropical climate. Now, Negroes cannot survive without the air condition. Why? It's because your body got too many toxins. Your body is polluted. So again, the Brotherhood of Light is changing the electromagnetic density so that the electrification of matter prepares man for the doming, the combining of his Overself body. We are going directly into a new star threshold with a new magnetic vibration. A new magnetic vibration, which is changing the whole nuclear membrane on this planet. All of the life plasma on this planet is getting changed. All right. Verse 17. Once we can accept the fact that these distant sons of light communicate beyond our known electromagnetic spectrum, we can understand why this key states that the sons of light must imprint upon our spectrum new living energy codes, which will raise the consciousness of our evolving species so that we can be coded into their larger membrane. 23. The sons of light are now given a master control evolutionary charter to those within our galactic tree of life, meaning the Milky Way. That's our galactic tree of life that we are bound to right now. The sons of light are now given a master control evolutionary charter to those within our galactic tree of life who wash their robes, for they will receive authority to go to the trees of life of other galactic worlds. Star Trek, Star Wars, to infinity and beyond. 27. When you surrender your personal ego, this is why a lot of our brothers in the camps can't get down with the keys in these higher teachings. When you surrender your personal ego and identity to God or the Creator, the Great Spirit, you are able to rise to a space-time overlap working with your brothers, with your spiritual brothers and sisters through multi-dimensional space and time. Working with your spiritual brothers and sisters through multi-dimensional, through the multiverse of space and time. This is essential for the ongoing fulfillment of consciousness, so as to be one with continuity and change within evolutionary continuum. Page 196, verse 62. The scientific representation of the genetic code structure was given in scriptures. Again, the scientific representation of the genetic code structure was given in scripture to prepare man for the Christ body. The Christ body, so that through the vibratory redemption of the body by the light, fallen humanity could attain to the Adam God mind. Thus, the image and similitude of the Adam God mind comes into the world through scripture. Whoop, there it is. There it is. Thus, the image and likeness of the Adam God mind, your original pre-existing body of light, comes into the world. You are not of the world, though you are in the world. Thus, the alien image and likeness of the Adam God man comes into the world through scriptures as the divine word. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The image and similitude through the grid of the living Word. The Word, which was in the beginning. The image and likeness through the grid of the living Word allows us to attain the higher worlds by putting on the Christ body of the living light. 69. This light grid represents a given biological code which can be used in multiple spectrums of space to create different mammal experiments operating within various light dimensions. However, in the genetic coding of a species, the space occupation must match the electromagnetic index into which it is moving. All right? Which is why we can't move on until we done been recoded from on high. Or else we'll just stay reincarnated back into one of the testing zones like the earth. All right? Yet this grid still remains open to other frequencies. That's how the higher brotherhood can come in and out. Operating within parallel space dimensions, into which another biological physical form can be evolved to correspond in many different electromagnetic spectrums. Such a grid can be used to directly infuse the Overself body into an EKA body of many physical creations. Thus, many physical bodies emanate from one Overself body. On the new Spider-Man, that's how all three of them came together in one consciousness time zone. All right, through multiple verses. All right, on the Doctor Strange movie, at the opening scene when he was fighting and he died, and the girl that was with him, and when the other Doctor Strange met her, he said, "You was in one of my dreams." He said, "You was in my dream the other day." She said, "Nah, it wasn't a dream. It was a separate reality, another aspect of the multiverse." So now, you got to re-question your dreams. When you somewhere interacting with somebody in your dream, are you in a different area of the multiverse? Let's get the definition of EKA body. Let's get the definition of EKA body. There exists a substratum of direct current, direct energy potentials in the body, which precedes the action potentials of biological reality. Again, there exists a substratum of direct current which is energy, potentials in the body, which precedes the action potentials of biological reality. This is a higher consciousness body. Body 2 substratum, which can coordinate the inner realities of each consciousness body through an interconnecting clock manifold, whereby consciousness time can be in perfect control of the biological clocks in common mundane reality. Enoch calls this body the EKA body, which is a collection of many plus and minus relativities depending on the nature of the consciousness levels. In the movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once, when it showed them in different verses, different realities, different multiverses, they had different layers of consciousness. All right? So like I said, the Elohim get the Gentiles to show us back these scriptures through movies. All right? And remember, just like in 2 Timothy 3:16, where it say all scripture is given by inspiration of the spirits. When they say God, it's referencing the spirit. Movies are the same way. Movies are given by the inspiration of spirits. All right? Now you got the fallen spirits giving inspiration for some movie. And you got the higher spirits giving inspiration through a body of flesh. All right? It's the same way. The consciousness body, the consciousness vehicle used for time travel. Oh, there we see. The consciousness body used for time travel while sustaining a direct relationship to the physical body, which is left at some point in biological time. That's how the girl was able to take Doctor Strange back and show him the body of himself that died. And through his consciousness, he was able to resurrect that body and use it for a time. All right? While he was in a different part of the multiverse. Because that was a different aspect of him, of himself, a different aspect of his overself body. If you know your origin, which is spiritual, if you know your origin, a creation of the Elohim, you know your destiny. For the EKA body is a vehicle synthesis and clearing consciousness time. A 7, 8, 9th chakra configuration allows the consciousness vehicles to work simultaneously in and out of what we have been taught as time. So again, verse 71, such a grid can be used to directly infuse the overself body into an EKA body of many physical creations. Thus, Many physical bodies emanate from one Overself body. Now, let's finish it off. Verse 82. When man can utilize this process, what do you say? He tell the ending from the beginning. And now we about to see how this ending is taking us back to what we was ordained to do at the beginning. When man can utilize this process, he will be able to go into a cross-matching of bodies of different light thresholds and selectively breed and acquire positive characteristics from the gene pool of advanced galactic civilizations. Go to Genesis. Genesis. The first commandment ever given to the creation of the Elohim. Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. So the Elohim created man in their own image. In the image of the Elohim created he him. Male and female created he them. All right. Now, this was before Genesis 2, when Eve got took out of when Eve was the rib of man. Remember I told you, two different creation stories. This is the original one, the Adam Kadmon. Man and woman was created together. This is why them camps teaching that women's supposed to be subservient and all this other mess. No. She was created to have dominion just like man. We about to see it. Old school reading. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. And God blessed them. And God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply. Be fruitful and multiply. He ain't said that to Adam and Eve. He said that to the Adam Kadmon, the light bodies, before they was intercepted by the fallen ones in creation. The book of Abraham, chapter 4, verse 26. And the gods, the Elohim, took counsel among themselves and said, let us go down and form man in our image and after our likeness. And we will give them dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, over every creeping thing that creep upon the earth. So the gods, the Elohim, went down to organize man in their own image. The Adam Kadmon is in their own image. In the image of the gods, to form they him, male and female, to form they them. To form they them, meaning for them to be fruitful and multiply. He told the ending from the beginning. Spiritualize these scriptures. We've been lied to, but now, us, we can't say everybody, because all of the Israelites don't have this understanding and don't want it. But the ones of us that's on this mission, on this path together, I appreciate the ones of y'all that enhanced our powers by taking part in this fruit fast that we did this week. Collectively. The keys of Enoch always talk about collectively. Everything is easier when we do it collectively. All right? If you having trouble getting off of the flesh, do it when we do these collective fasts, which the next one we do, we'll start on Tuesday, a raw diet for 3 days. After we know folks gonna eat good at cookouts this weekend. Even if you don't celebrate the pagan holiday, it's just a family fun day to eat good and drink some moonshine. Alright? Yeah. But eat good. And we'll start a new fruit fast or raw fast for 3 days, Tuesday through Thursday next week. Alright? Peace.